All right, we're back with another podcast, TFT podcast. We're here with Kyle, another trader that's recently gotten paid out. I'm excited to have this conversation with him, so welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we've yet to meet, right? First time meeting. So give the people a little background, who you are, where you're from, and let's start off with that.
Yeah, my name is Kyle. I've been trading since 2011. I'm from New York, and I'm a funded trader at TFT.
Let's go. So you said you started trading in 2011, but this is the first person you met in person.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
other trader.
Yep.
So what the hell have you been doing?
Honestly, I've just been grinding on my own, and a lot of friends that I made in the trading world are not anywhere close to me. So we've never just planned a meetup or anything, So I do have really close friends that I've built up over the years, but we just haven't gotten together. So
you're mainly Twitter?
Yeah, mainly Twitter. Yep.
Okay. Why do you choose Twitter as a platform?
I was telling Javier, I think there's just more engagement on Twitter. I think there's more traders on Twitter that are not just looking for lifestyle, right? There's people sharing alpha.
I think so too. I was telling him yesterday. Twitter's kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
In the trading space, it's kind of wild. And it's not recent. I mean, it was crypto. It was big on crypto, and then more recently, it's Forex now.
Right.
I would say. But yeah. So how many followers you got?
I only got 23, but 23. I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm pushing. Yeah. No, but my buddy Trader Main, he's got 300,000. And he's from crypto Twitter, right? So
Sheesh.
FX Twitter's kind of just getting started. I feel like.
Yep. Were you originally crypto?
No, not really.
Okay.
I was mostly Forex. Yeah.
Why?
And I got into crypto for a little bit, and it didn't go so well. So I kind of stepped off a little bit. So part of it is because I can't leverage trade on cryptos. As a U.S. client, it's hard to find an exchange that allows you to go short. So unless you're doing non-KYC exchanges, right, your money's not guaranteed. So if the exchange shuts down, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your money out of there.
You trade with any unregulated brokers?
No.
Okay, what brokers?
Unless TFT is unregulated.
It's ACAP, so it's not. But what brokers do you use?
I usually use Oanda. For my personal account, yeah.
Okay.
I've been with them for a long time, so I haven't had any issues with them as far as slippage or anything, so I've kind of just stayed with them.
8cap has a ton of crypto pairs.
Yeah.
Right? They probably have the most, I think of. Well, I haven't looked around too much, right? But they have a ton of crypto pairs. You could, there's ways to open an account on 8cap if you're a U.S. citizen. You could start a business, in the Bahamas or in Cayman Islands, and then you could, contract with them through that business, and they were fine with that.
Yeah, just trying to get me back into crypto.
Yeah, the leverage isn't much though.
Yeah.
What is? I don't even know what their leverage is.
It might be Oanda's 1 to 50. I'm not sure what crypto is.
Yeah, 1 to 50 on crypto would be a lot.
Yeah. Especially if you're trading Bitcoin or Ethereum, right?
So that being said, I think before we get into FX, what do you think of crypto right now?
Honestly, I think there's definitely room for it. If they introduce a CBDC, it's not really going to go anywhere. In my opinion, I think technology is going to be more important than just actually the coins itself. So, I don't really have anything wrong with it. I'm actually trying to get back into it and start trading it more because I know there's an audience for it. So,
do you hold? Are you hold? Or you're trying to short term?
I'm short term trade. I'm usually short term in everything.
Are you crypto bear? You said
no.
Okay.
I self-direct my retirement accounts and everything. I'm short term in everything. So
okay, interesting. So how old are you?
I'm 32 now.
You're 32. Yeah. Walk us back. Did you go to college?
Yeah. So I talked about this on a couple of different interviews, but
what interviews have you done? Just so people know to watch.
What was that?
What interviews have you done so people can go watch? So
I actually interviewed with Trading Nut first. That kind of put me on the map, and then I've interviewed with ICT himself actually, and I've got a couple more coming up. But
I did one with Trading Nut, and at the time I had a beard out to here, even crazier than it is now. It was.
You probably thought you were from New Zealand.
Fucking wild, dude. Yeah, it looked like I was homeless.
Yeah. He's a good guy though.
He is, yeah. He's a good dude. I feel like his page is a little saturated. He kind of just interviewed everyone.
Yeah.
Which kind of whatever, but he has good intentions.
He's got some good people on there. You have to kind of dig around, but.
Yeah, but ICT is a big one.
Yeah.
Interview with him, sheesh.
Yeah,
that's a huge one.
ICT, if you're watching, man, we hoped you come down here, but I'm just kidding. If you're spending time with your family, it's all good.
I just love the tweet. I replied, and said to come down, and then somebody replied, and they're like, "Angelo, have some fucking dignity."
No, I saw that too. Listen, guys, if you don't ask, you're never gonna get something, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna notice that if you're working at a job or something, if you really want something, you gotta ask for it. If you want a raise or something, you gotta ask for it. and just don't be like ashamed of doing it, right?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, people would benefit from us having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? Especially if there's a lot of traders that are coming from his camp that are coming on here. So like, why not?
There is.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're an ICT trader. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about you, right?
Yeah.
So you're an ICT trader.
I guess rewinding it back, right? Like, I went to Albany, SUNY Albany in New York. So it was like a notorious party school. I didn't do well with my grades. I ended up dropping out. I was just kind of delivering pizza. I ran into a friend back home. He got me into trading, actually. So I went back to school, got a degree, got into construction administration, which is interesting. I kind of worked my way up into like purchasing and estimating. And then I started building high-end residential construction for like, we built a house for like Tom Brady, some Yankee players and stuff. So that kind of opened up a whole different world that really honestly like propelled my trading. Because when I was doing purchasing, I was buying like lumber, tile, like roofing shingles. So a lot of those contracts were huge, like I was spending $1 million on door hardware, right? Just imagine. People are spending $1 million on doorknobs, right? So if I mess up, right? Like if I mess up, there's a $100,000 swing in P&L that the client's eating.
Right.
So like, now I'm comfortable trading size, and it's not really a big thing to me.
So were you like passionate about that?
Yeah, I was. I was like, when I got into it, I didn't really, when I first started out, I wasn't doing purchasing. But then when I started, when I kind of, changed roles into that, I was like, all right, this is like something I can get behind. And
are you still
I was
in this
already
industry?
Trading. No, I left. Yeah.
Okay.
It got a little too crazy. Like the hours are insane. Like construction is going from like 7 a.m. to like, it doesn't end really. Like,
right.
My email is just going nonstop. So.
Right.
Especially when you got a high net worth client, like $1 billion client.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
So not only that, but like they're not the ones like pressing you sometimes. Like sometimes they got somebody else that's like pressing you. It's maybe their agent or something.
Right. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people involved when you're spending that type of money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
A lot of players in the game.
Not only that, when they're spending that much money, they want their house built right away, right?
Right. What's the normal time to like build a house?
Usually like 2 or 3 years.
2 3 years.
On like a $25 million home, probably 2 or 3 years.
What's like an example of a situation where something got delayed?
There's a whole bunch of issues. So like either they're gonna run into like structural issues where like the ground is not proper, like the soil is not settled or anything.
That's like the biggest blocker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because if you don't have a good foundation, same with trading, right? If you don't have a good foundation, you don't have a house, right? So not only that, it was part of that, and then there was clients that just couldn't make decisions. They didn't know what kind of tile they wanted. They were constantly making
first world problems.
Yeah, so we call them change orders, right? So whenever a client wasn't happy, they would just submit a huge change order, right? They might add a huge addition that's like $1 million or $500,000 that just completely ruins the schedule, because then we have to go back to square one, basically.
Oh, well, I'm dealing with that right now with a couple businesses. People always want to change.
They want to change it, yeah. Especially mid-process.
So annoying,
right?
Yeah. But the client's always right, right?
Yeah. So that was kind of part of why I like left it. The schedule was crazy, and in construction, the processes were always changing. Not only that, but like.
So how long did you work in construction for?
7 years, I think, 8 years maybe.
Oh, so like a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Good while. And then so when you quit construction, were you trading at this time, right?
Yeah. So like I talk about a lot. I had to put myself in a position where I was comfortable quitting because it was, it was a steady career ladder.
We talked about this yesterday, so I want to hear your take on this.
So like
you had money and stuff.
It was a steady career ladder where I could, easily hit 200K in like a couple of years. I was I was making a healthy 6 figures. And my plan was always to go full-time trading. So that whole time, like my, personal life, I sacrificed like going out and stop partying, and really just had to save and buckle down because like when you're a full-time trader, the paycheck's not steady. So saving up like a nest egg takes a long time. It's not overnight, right? So if I wanted to save up.
What was the nest egg for you?
It's like 2 or 3 years worth of salary. Right?
Oh man, we got some.
It's like 2 or 3 years worth of expenses where if I don't, because jumping into trading full-time is still uncertain. I was consistent at the time, right? I had gotten a couple payouts from FTMO and stuff, and I had a nest egg. But still taking that jump to full-time is different, right? I'm leaving behind a steady paycheck to do this.
Do you really think there's ever like enough to take the leap, right? Like,
yeah, I think if
200, 300, 500, 600, like.
So part of it too was I lost both my parents. So I lost my mother to cancer back in high school, and then I lost my father a year and a half ago. So that kind of put my time into perspective. Like I wasn't spending a whole lot of time with my wife at home. When I got home, I was leaving the house at 6 a.m., getting off 7 a.m., not getting home till like 8 p.m., right? So I only have like 2 or 3 hours to spend free time. So a lot of times it's not about the money, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's, do you want to have the freedom and pursue something that's like meaningful and can pay you really well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, there's a lot of sacrifices you got to make at the end of the day, right? If you're trying to build up your empire, build up your career and everything like that. But like you said, it's always important to spend time, whether it's family, friends, yourself, whatever, time away from the charts. Very important. Or if you're just in business, time away from your business as well. So it sounds like for you, you had a pretty big nest egg.
Yeah.
You needed to have some security.
Yeah, absolutely. When you went out. Yeah. Yep. I'm married. I got a wife at home. Like, she would not feel comfortable if I was
telling him when I quit my job, I think I was like negative 40K.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're taking a big risk, like
huge.
It's just what's your risk tolerance, right? Because I met a lot of really successful independent contractors when I was working. Like people that did tile and cabinetry, and they like were masters at their craft, right? And a lot of them just said when they first started, they didn't have anything, right? And they were willing to sacrifice everything to get where they were.
Right. So you said you wanted to talk about mindset.
Yeah,
right? You want to talk about mentality a little bit. So when you first went full-time trading, what was the mentality like? Like, were you working all day and everything?
I was working all day. And honestly, right now, I'm still working really hard because I'm working on other projects outside of trading. I think what I noticed really quickly was trading, if you're trading full-time, it doesn't consume a lot of your time. You can let it consume a lot of your time, but you're going to kind of put yourself in a poor position if the market's not going to give you the conditions that you're looking for, right? So
waste a lot of time.
Yeah, you can waste a lot of time. And switching from a set schedule, going to my own schedule, it's kind of hard, right? Because you could just like fuck off and do whatever you want, like at that point, like I had enough money where I could just fuck, like I was, I made a good amount like on payouts. So you didn't have to work on some days, but I was trying to push it to the next level.
I like how you brought up the fact that when you go from having like a set schedule to your own schedule, how difficult that is.
Yeah.
That was 100% like the most difficult thing.
Right.
For me as well.
Do you have somebody manage your own schedule now though? Like an assistant?
Not really, no.
So you're marking out your own calendar and everything?
Yeah, marking out my own calendar. I mean, I use Calendly, like that's I don't have an assistant though at this point. And for the company we have HR, but you know what I mean? We don't have exec assistants at this point. But that has been even before like TFT and all that, because when I first left my job, it wasn't TFT, I was working other stuff. It's just so difficult like to self-manage.
Right? And self-motivate yourself to do stuff.
Self-manage. Right? I've never had an issue with the motivation because I'm just fucking crazy, but the self-management has always been the issue, or it was. And I remember even before I quit my job, like way before, like when I first started getting this like mentality of just like trying to strive for excellence in what I do, it was very much so like I was working on my schedule. Like I was like, I need to figure out my priorities, I need to figure out what are like the foundational things I need to do in my life, when it comes to taking care of myself, but also learning new skills and all this stuff, like what my habits were. And I remember at that time, people were like, why are you so worried about this shit? And I'm like, because one day I'm going to leave my job and then I'm going to have to fucking know how to self-manage myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm preparing now. And that was like 2 or 3 years before I even left my job. Right. So then once I left my job, it was actually, it still was hard, but it was more manageable. And then now, like, I'm really good with it. Yeah. Like, I'm locked in with it.
But it's like an equity curve where you're learning. When you just get into it, trying to manage your time and build good habits, it takes a long time. Like, you don't just automatically get it overnight.
No. Even now, I mean, I'm always trying to optimize, my schedule and everything like that. So with you, it sounds like right now you're full-time trading. What's the schedule looking like for you?
So I tried doing the 4 a.m. gym session thing. It just wasn't working out for me. Like I tried doing it.
Not in the cards.
It's not in the card. I'm not a morning person. So usually I'm in bed by like 10, 11. I'm up at like 6. I usually do my pre-day analysis the night before, so I'm usually prepared going into it. I trade for like an hour, 2 hours, and then I try and fill my time with something else. Right now, I'm currently working on a business. So
you do New York session?
Yeah.
That's what you trade?
Yep.
Okay, for sure.
And mostly Forex.
Mostly Forex? What pair?
Euro USD, pound USD, yeah.
People are making a lot of money with
Euro
Euro
and pound,
USD
yeah.
lately, right? Why is that? Why do you think?
I mean, part of it is, last year was an easy play on Euro USD. It was just the Ukrainian war was going on, so it was 80% short, right? I was shorting that market 80% of the time. But I mean, it's been the most liquid market, so.
Yeah, at TFT, it's like the most profitable Forex pair.
Oh, you heard it.
Yeah, everyone's about to.
That's the secret.
Nah, people know. People know.
Yeah,
like, you know, people talk about it.
All right, but so then what's stopping them from going over to like another pair and trading it? Because I did watch your interview with somebody who was like trading, maybe it was Euro, and then they switched to gold and started scalping gold. What's the mindset? What's the mindset behind somebody trading? Being profitable in one pair and then trying something else.
You're saying why do they do that?
Yeah, why do they do that?
Dude, I don't know, man. People get bored.
I think it's like overconfidence and then boredom.
I think people get bored. I mean, it's even me. Like one thing that I've started to learn, in business is when you have some like success and it's almost like a setup, right? Like you have the business and you have a strategy and it works.
Yeah.
And you know that it works and you should really only change it, small changes to it. You shouldn't like do a huge change. But so many people want to be like they're
trying
oh my God, let's try this. Oh my God, let's try this. Yeah. Like I'll do like an example with TFT, with some of the marketing strategies, people have ideas all over the place. And I'm just like, we have a strategy. Like, let's just make minor changes. It works. You know what I'm saying? Like, exactly.
Because you make one change, it breaks the whole thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to, we're blessed in the sense that we have success. Like, we don't have to desperately, if it wasn't working, let's try something new. Right. But if it's working, then keep doing it.
Yeah.
So for some reason, people are always just trying to, maybe it's fear that what they're doing will stop working and they want to do something else. Right. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, we talked about it in another pod where people love to just switch it up.
Honestly, I think it's just an experience because I did that for a long time.
Yep. But like, look at it like this. Even with TFT, right? Like, I don't have experience per se as a prop firm CEO, right? But there's decisions that I'll make where I'm just like, per this example, like, let's just stay in our lane. Like, let's just keep doing what we're doing, right? And so it's mature. I think it's maturity to an extent. It's kind of like,
the industry is pretty young too. So
very young.
I got to give props to you guys because without like prop firm capital, like I would probably still be working my job, honestly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how much in payouts have you gotten?
So between you guys and the other firms that I'm with, like almost 500,000 in the last 14 months, I think.
God damn. How much with TFT?
Almost 175.
175.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's one guy that's accumulated in the last 2 years almost like 400K. Yeah. There's some big hitters for sure.
So you got to be comfortable with the risk, though.
You're probably one of the top traders. Then.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. God damn. Good.
When I got into it, I was like, so I really treated it like a business. When I first got into FTMO and stuff, I opened up an LLC. I opened up a business credit card. I had the money right to pay for the challenges, but I'm going to expense it against my income. Mm-hmm. So if I had $5,000-$10,000, to get $5,000 or $10,000 and invest that into a business and turn it into $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 is a huge flip, right?
Big deal, yeah.
So
it's a big flip.
Yeah, and
Talk about low costs.
I talked to Paladin because I think he was getting flack, right? Somebody was like, "This guy lost, I think $20,000 or $30,000 in challenges." Yeah. I was like, "All right, but this kid made $200K. Is that not a good business?
It's a good spread. Yeah,
that's a good." Every business has expenses.
But I don't know if Paladin's using the LLC.
Honestly, it doesn't matter though, right? Because you're getting a 1099.
No, I think he's learning though.
Yeah, I just did it because I could open up a business credit card, right?
No, we were talking about this yesterday as well. This is what you should be doing, right? Yeah. That's called financial literacy. Like you have a business, you have expenses, you made $200K, you can write off the $30K, $10K, whatever. Yeah. Maybe you could do a larger expense, buy a car or whatever, or a bunch of equipment.
Yeah. Like my whole office, expense the whole office.
Maybe like every day you hop on Discord chat or like a voice chat and you have lunch and you talk to other people and then you're in a business meeting.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff you can get away with expenses in business. I mean, if you're not doing like $2 million a year or even more, I think the IRS is just like, whatever.
Right. But at that point, you just buy a plane.
Yeah.
You know? No, there's a lot of things you could do. You could get super creative, but you definitely got to be careful.
So I mean that was kind of part of my journey too. Is like I went back to school for business administration and finance.
Okay.
So it was a huge thing just to understand business, and then I started working my way up the ranks in actual business. Like I think a lot of traders would benefit if they treated their trading like a business. You know, really treat it like a business.
Yeah, it's funny because our course, like our education program that we used to teach, Forex League, our slogan was treat trading like a business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we realized that a lot of people were, you know, they weren't looking into the intricacies of running a company. Like you get a strategy, you test the strategy, you change the strategy, you stick to the strategy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they were just all over the fucking place.
Yeah. Which I think probably 95% of traders are struggling with still.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. But what is that? Like, why? Is it because the literacy, like the financial literacy?
I think part of it is because the way that the market's portrayed, right? Like you can obviously make a whole lot of money real fast, right? Like you get the get rich quick style. I guess portrayal of markets when it's really not like that. I think I saw something on my reel that said, you know, I think the guy that founded TradeZella maybe, he had mentioned, you know, everybody looks at Michael Jordan or LeBron James it was Floyd Mayweather making $100 million in a fight, right? Like that fight only lasts like an hour, but it was a culmination of, you know, 20, 30 years of hard work.
And a lot of influence.
Yeah. And a lot
of influence gained over that time because of his skill.
It's the same thing, you know, it's compounded over time. So if you're struggling right now, that doesn't mean you're going to be struggling 5 years from now. Yeah,
that's like my pops always says, he's like, why do these athletes make all this money? And I'm just like, this is the world we live in. This is, you know, this is economics, this is capitalism. You know, they have the eyes on them. They're attracting all the leagues, attracting all the advertising dollars, right? And it's being split to them. And then that's why in women's sports, it's not people being paid as much because they're not attracting as much advertising, you know, dollars and all that.
Right.
So it's interesting by that regard. You said that you were working on another business.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm actually trying to work on a education platform. I don't want to give away too much. We want to try.
I thought you were going to say proper.
No. Maybe at some point, but right now we're trying to gamify education. So part of that is actually getting people to be accountable to what they're studying, and not only that, actually be graded for it. Right now, everything with education and trading is self-study. Like I was just telling Javier, he's the first person I met in person that is actually a trader. Because when you bring it up to people outside of the trading world, there's like, what are you talking about? You know?
No, it's a very niche thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, as you get more involved, then you obviously meet more and more people.
So my network has exploded the last 6 months.
Okay. What do you think, you know, with your network expanding, why do you think that's important?
Well, I get to network with like-minded traders, but also, you know, work on possible business with them.
You're collaborating with other traders?
Yeah, one of my good friends, he's a performance coach at one of the prop firms across the pond. You know, so you guys might not, they're not direct competition, but he's been a performance coach for like 10 years now. So he sees a lot of traders come through his doors, and he knows like what helps them out improve. And a lot of it is just daily routines, you know, mindset practice, you know, simple things that add up to like a bigger picture. Like the daily routine is a huge thing.
Do you got bad habits. You do these things? Like, do you have a daily routine and stuff?
Like I meditate, you know, I stretch, I work out I would try and work out like at least 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I'm training for a half marathon right now. Paladin is like,
I saw you ripped like a 12-mile run, right?
Yeah. So like, before, like, I'm not really a great runner. Like I used to play soccer and I was a midfielder. So I used to have better cardio. But lately I've only done like 2 or 3 mile runs, but I'm kind of pushing myself and challenging myself. So I think it's 5 weeks of training that I've had leading up to the race. So it's not a whole lot of time. I think they recommend 16 weeks, which is 4 months. So I'm giving myself like a quarter of that.
Gotta be careful, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Those marathons are no joke.
The half is not that bad. Like I didn't feel that bad on the half.
One of our employees just did a marathon and he didn't train at all. He just ripped it. And I think he broke his foot.
Oh no, man.
Yeah.
Probably regrets that.
He did it in Zion National Park.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, it was beautiful.
Trip over a
rock.
My
foot's broken.
Oh, I've been to Zion. Zion's beautiful.
Yeah. I haven't been over there, but it seems like a beautiful place. Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like meditating is a big thing for you. Yeah. Do you have like stuff you listen to with that, or is it just?
Yeah, so I use the Headspace app, but a lot of times, even if you're just in your own thoughts, it's just a method to become more self-aware of your actions.
Yeah.
Because impulsiveness in trading is a big thing. Like even last year, I experienced it. I could sit down at the screen. Like if I take a loss early, all of a sudden I'm on autopilot, and just like brain fog just creeps over you, and just start clicking buttons. You know, like. Your listeners are going to understand what I'm talking about. If you have a set plan and you say I'm going to take, 2 or 3 trades a week, and you find yourself operating outside of that, like you have to become self-aware of that, because you're going to destroy yourself doing that.
Yeah, for me, like an example of this is in the beginning of the day, I'm like a morning person, right? So I wake up, try to wake up by 6, and then do my routine. I always try to not touch my phone for a couple hours in the morning, work out, I meditate through working out. That's kind of, how I get centered. And then I'll come in and I'll start to do work and whatever. Later in the day, around like 4, 5, 6, I'll start to really just become unfocused. I'm not locked in at that time. And I'm very self-aware of that. I'm trying to figure out ways to, figure that out, but very self-aware. So it's like around those times of day, I mean,
it's normal. I don't think it's hard to avoid.
It's very, very normal. So around those times of day is when I like to, not work. I just stop because I'm like, I'm not as effective at these times of day. But
if you work too hard, you're going to burn out too.
I've seen like, I don't know. People are so different though, because I work with a lot of people right now, and like, dude, some people just get locked in at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're just like night owls.
They're there during the day too? In the morning?
No, okay. They're not there during the day. Yeah. No, the daytime is like sleeping or whatever. Like I have a partner for TFT, and he doesn't like work in the morning. Like he likes to come on at like 1, 2, and then he'll work like through the night and stuff. And I'm just like, this is so against the circadian rhythm of human beings. But
unless he's got like the little Phillips like night thing where
he's got the IV of coffee, keeping him up at night.
Yeah, but no, I think I have a pretty good set schedule.
Yeah, so the business you're trying to, do you sell stuff right now, like courses and stuff? No.
I think I probably plan to. Like, here's the thing: a lot of people catch flack for educators selling content and services, but I think if you have the experience, you can back it up, right? Like I have the receipts. I think it's a completely different thing. I'm not reselling stuff, and I think the biggest value is just paying for somebody's access, paying for access to somebody. Listen, if you could pay for somebody that's like been in the industry for a hell of a long time and get like direct mentorship, it's like priceless.
Yeah, I mean, you never should listen to people that aren't where you want to be.
Yeah,
right. People are always listen to family, friends, and they're not where they want to be, and then they're like creating this doubt for them and all this stuff. Like, and listen, you can meet a lot of people for free too through Discord and like all the Twitter and all these different chats. So I had this thought recently about Twitter. I'm starting to realize this. Twitter is like an open scale Discord for like prop firms, kind of, right? It's because Discord, what do you do in there? You interact, like the company does announcements and shit. Like you could almost treat Twitter the same way.
Yeah, but not only that, like your Twitter feed is like, some tweets don't go away. Like you'll see a tweet 5 hours later. Whereas in Discord, the messages are just constantly going.
Gone.
Right? They're gone. Yeah, you're not going to see it. But if it gets enough engagement, enough retweets, like you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big thing.
Yeah, we're trying to get, we've made some moves on Twitter as of recently.
I see you guys.
TFT.
I see you
We're
guys.
We're out here.
You got the gold check.
We're doing the giveaways.
Yeah, how much do I got to spend to get the gold check?
I don't even know how that happened.
I think you have to pay for it. I think you got to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's based on, I think it's based on your promotion, how much you're spending on promotion. I'm not 100% sure.
You're trying to expose us right now?
You're like, I'm not. Because I'm trying to get one too. No.
I think we had the blue, and then maybe we became eligible.
Yeah.
And then we opted in. I don't know. We have somebody that manages the Twitter account, so maybe shout out Dennis. Maybe he.
Wait, so you guys might be, I think you're the only prop firm with the gold check mark.
No, FTMO does.
Oh, do they?
I noticed, yeah.
Oh, okay, but they're not really active on Twitter as much.
Right? They were. It's kind of interesting. They're, because we study, all the companies. We do competitive analysis. So they're recently not focused on social. They're just not focused on building their social platforms. They barely post on YouTube. Yeah, they barely post on Instagram. Barely post on Twitter. It's kind of interesting. I'm almost wondering what they're doing, like where they're trying.
So you know the story about the sriracha, right? The hot sauce.
Yeah,
that guy has never spent a dime on marketing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
Maybe that's the route they're trying to go. I don't know.
Potentially. I mean, maybe they think the product is that good that it's just the product speaks for itself. Has merit for sure.
So like I almost have $175,000 withdrawn from them, right? But I kind of see them as, if they don't adapt, like, where are they going to go? Because a lot of these firms have better parameters and they have better payout structure. So in my opinion, just because they're like the industry giant, they've been around forever, that doesn't mean you just don't adapt anymore, right? Because look at the people that didn't adapt to like the telephone and the internet, right? Like they're gone.
Yeah. It's almost like they need to come out with something like Apple, where Apple's came out with the credit card, and then now they're coming out with the bank account where you get 4 point. I don't know if you saw that. You get like 4% interest.
I was talking with my wife about that.
Yeah,
the banks are going under.
yeah. Like Apple's about to become the biggest bank. Like FTMO's got to do something like that, like something big. That's almost hard for a company like us to reach yet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they're more institutionalized than we are. That's where they have to go.
That's kind of what I wanted to ask you. Like, where do you see? Because like you guys, you operating as a prop firm kind of is affecting the livelihood of a lot of traders out there, right?
Yeah.
So where do you see the industry going as far as, do you think there's going to be regulations that kick in? Like,
yeah. So for us, first of all, right, one, talking with you is very interesting because there's a lot of gurus online, right? But you've pulled however much you said, hundreds of $1,000s. And so you're almost like one of the most credible people to talk with, as opposed to these guys with 100,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting. So that's one thing that's just like an observation to me that I think is so crazy. And then two, I mean, think about TFT. We've paid out $50 million to people, right? That's a bigger impact than a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Huge.
It's fucking massive. Granted, there's a lot of people that have failed as well, but a prop firm is certainly an educational tool. At the same time, we talked about this yesterday. Putting people in those parameters forces you to become better traders. But yeah, I mean, listen, without how big TFT is, because TFT is the biggest company in the U.S., like in the prop firm space. I will say this: yes, there is regulators that are gonna be interested in what we're doing. That's gonna come, if not already. It's here, right? So
that doesn't mean you can't adapt, though, right?
No, I mean, look at Coinbase. Look at all the crypto companies. I mean, this is kind of what it comes down to. If this product is legally sound in the structure of our company, which we have good good regulatory counsel that's well versed in the CFTC guidelines, I believe that it is. They're going to have to work with us because it's not going to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to keep popping up, if it's within the confines of like the legal structure of all the SEC and whatnot. So I think that regulation's coming soon. Listen, I posted a Twitter poll and I was like, what do you think's going to happen first? $1 billion in payouts from a prop firm, or regulation, right? And I thought there was like another thing, but I forgot what it was. And most people voted regulation. Yeah. So I think regulation is definitely coming very soon. And listen, like I almost look at the product of a prop firm is it's very interesting. Like if you look at an exchange, right? They offer trading in liquid like over the counter trading. Like they offer price prediction betting, like all these different products, right? Like a suite of products. It's almost like the funding is just another product.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be
like I'm a dinosaur, so I was the guy that didn't have any credentials. I didn't have like the education from a top tier school. I was the guy trying to apply to like SMB Capital and Jane Street, right? But you guys offered an opportunity where I don't have to have those credentials, right?
Insane.
Listen, if I had to go take a Series 7 or a Series, whatever series it is to continue trading for prop firms, I would do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, the reason that, for those that don't know that are listening, the reason that it's allowed, right, for U.S. traders, because there's at least for us, I can't speak for other prop firms in the U.S., but for us, there's a separation, right? There's an entity that does the challenges, which is the funded trader. You guys sign up, you pay, it's a game, basically, right? It's a video game you guys are paying for. And then there's our prop firm, which is based in the Cayman Islands, and some people are in the Discord and they're like, I just signed my contract and it's with a Cayman Islands company. Like, what's going on? And that's because that separation is what allows us to actually do the trading. So that company is contractually in a partnership, with the funded trader and is allowed to use the data that we have, and it's able to pass it along. And then they're, whether we want to do B booking, A booking, whatever we want to do, with those traders, That's all happening in that entity. So for like, listen, there's so many things going on right now. Like I see tweets about people and they're like, FTMO and MyForex funds and E8 funding are they own the broker and they own the bridge, so they're manipulating the slippage and the spread and the commissions and all that stuff. Like newsflash, everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
listen, if you go and trade your live account, you're going to experience the same things at a retail brokerage.
Well, I'd like to educate people on what's actually going on, right? So when it comes to the phase 1 and phase 2, right? A lot of phase 1, depending on the company, I can't speak for E8, or these companies. I don't know what they're doing, but maybe they are doing this. Phase 1, a lot of them are just demo. Like it's a strictly demo account. If you try to enter a 50 lot, you will get the price on the screen, right? It's just going to execute. And then phase 2 is when it starts to become more like a simulated live conditions. And what that means, for people that don't know what this means, is basically, there's spread, there's commission, that's fine. But then there's what's called volume bands. So there's bands that basically you can set up, in the bridge settings. And if you enter a 1 lot, there's going to be an additional slippage of X amount. If you enter a 2 lot, there's going to be additional slippage. 3 lot, 4 lot. Every company, it depends what bands they want to set up. It's all customized. But that is supposed to mimic basically in a live market when you're trading with an LP, LPs only have a certain amount of volume at certain prices, right? So if you're trying to enter a 50 lot,
it's interesting you bring this up.
Depending the broker, they could have either they could own their LP or they could have a combination of LPs, right? And when you enter that 50 lot, it's going to search those LPs to try to execute it at the best price so that you get filled where you're trying to get filled, right? But sometimes when you enter large amounts, you could end up getting slipped X amount depending at the time of day. Maybe it's news, maybe you trade at out of session at 4 p.m., whatever. So on the phase 2 is where the prop firms are trying to simulate that live environment as much as they can, but there are certain limitations to doing that. But it has to be done because, one, if that's not occurring, like if there's a prop firm out there that's like, hey, phase 2, we don't do this. Like their pass rate's going to be super high. 2, that data is essentially useless. And I say that because if it's all demo, if you try to copy a demo to a live account, I wish you luck. Because the execution, since it's instant in the live, you're getting the slippage, you're always going to lose against the spread.
Right.
Like you're simply going to be cut. People know this. They complain about spread and commissions all the time. So
it's so interesting to bring this up because I see so many people complain, even with TFT, these other prop firms complaining about slippage and stuff. And like the amount of money that I made, I'm only doing like 0.25% on, right? I just have more capital.
Yeah,
that was my goal. I was just trying to go for more capital, and I've never had issues with slippage. Like maybe I have, but nothing noticeable where I'm just like completely blowing the account or have to tweet about it. Right?
It's a big topic. Like even TFT right now, as we're getting bigger, it's more important for us to mimic phase 2 as close to the live market as possible. It's a risk for the business if phase 2 is not like we don't have access that we need to the bridge to be able to set up certain settings based on what we're seeing. So people right now are complaining that TFT spreads are marked up. And the reason that it's marked up is because we're right now with 8cap trying to get certain, access and whatever, certain agreements so we can adjust those settings to be able to offer the more competitive spreads. So if we're not able to put the volume bands a certain way, we have to mark up the spreads. And that just is what it is. And the people, it's kind of like the FTMO thing. The people that complain about it is what it is. Like we're paying people out. We're continuing to pay people out. The company is extremely healthy, and that's what's most important.
I think a lot of people that are complaining about the spreads are the ones that are like failing the accounts.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's an external thing. Like you're complaining about the spreads, but what size lot are you trading? Right. Where you have to worry about the spread. Is that 2 pip spread or slippage? You're gonna like completely blow your account.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't even worry about it because they know it's like it's not that important.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of scalpers. So you're not a scalper.
No.
Okay. What do you do? What's your strategy?
Like intraday, intra-week. So I'm usually trying to figure out the direction of the week. Yeah.
So let's get into the strat. So where'd you learn originally? Like your ICT originally, where'd you learn?
So originally I was like in James 16, it was Forex Factory. Okay. Like if you go on Forex Factory, the trading systems threads.
The dungeon.
Yeah, the dungeon. If you go in there, the threads are still active. There's still people in there in the dungeon.
Sheesh.
And they're actually like posting charts and stuff. And that the feed is just so slow. You're looking at it and this guy's like, I'm going along here. And he posts a chart and it's just indicators. And I'm like, you have so many indicators on, you don't even know what price is. You don't even know what the price of the chart is.
I never got big on Forex Factory.
Yeah.
I never got into there. So you started out there, and then you found ICT at some point.
I kind of, was system hopping for a long time. And even, I think 2014, 2015, there still wasn't a whole lot of content on trading out there. Like, it's recently blown up, and I think right now is the easiest time ever to become a trader because there's a lot of good information out there.
Yeah, 2014, 2015, like YouTube wasn't even a thing.
Right.
Like trading videos on YouTube and stuff, you know what I mean? Because my partner in the other business, Nick, he started around that time, and he was just teaching himself a lot of stuff because there was not a lot of information out there. You could read books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's legitimate books about it.
Nobody's really talking about psychology. There's no thread on Forex Factory talking about psychology, though.
No. I think that, like, people say trading is 80%, psychology, 20% trading, which is just like a bullshit thing. I think it's 100% psychology, 100%, trading. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's both, realistically.
Honestly, I talk about it a lot. You have to have a really deep skill set for this. Like, technical. You have to be self-aware. You have to have the whole, psychology thing down pat. And that doesn't come with, some people will say, oh, I can learn this in 3 months. Okay. Good luck.
No, but what's crazy is because the prop firms exist now, there are people who are making money within a year.
Right.
Which is like fucking nuts.
Yeah. You think there's longevity behind that, though? You maybe some of those people are going to be flash in the pan successes, or definitely. Like, it kind of forces you to have better risk management skills. So I think, where old prop firms had like provided you proprietary software and strategies like education, like you guys are providing something different where, you're providing the capital, but you're providing these really strict risk parameters that's kind of forcing people into like a certain mold where they have to learn it. Otherwise, they're going to continually blow their accounts.
Yeah. I mean, you both were saying like risk management's big thing, and you obviously can't like not use risk management with prop firm. Like you're just gonna blow the challenge every
because like at brick and mortar prop firms, if you blew up, I think a certain amount of your line, but sometimes you had to put in your own capital. Like you had to front $25,000 of your own capital to get access to the firm's capital, right? So a lot of times if you go into drawdown, right, they're not going to kick you out of the firm. Do you think that's something that some firms might trend towards or no? Like for your top traders, I guess, providing them more capital and not kick them out.
I'll say this, based on how we're evaluating the data, people think it's like, oh, we're going to find like brick and mortar prop firms was kind of like find a individual who's like a diamond in the rough and then load them up with capital, right? But the way we're approaching it is we're looking at the data as a whole. And we're basically trying to just engineer what features or what statistics we should be looking at. And then based on that, we're trying to feed the data into some sophisticated models that can tell us where to put our money.
Right.
So it's not necessarily like, oh, Kyle's long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, we don't even know. We don't even know who it is.
You're not fading my calls, right?
No, it's like not even about that for us. In the beginning, when we first got into the business, the idea was literally this. Like, do you want to hear the idea of TFT? It was literally like we knew how many people failed. Like we knew that was part of the model. Yeah, I knew because I was working with this other company in affiliate marketing, and I had access to like seeing who failed and who didn't, and I knew that it was like crazy how many people failed. Right, and like 95% failed.
As with any other business,
I knew it was high. But my original idea was that basically we'd have more leverage than the traders, right? You guys have 1 to 100, we have 1 to 500, whatever, on our margin accounts. And then basically there'd be out of 100 people, there'd be a couple people that pass, and then those people paid the challenge fees. We'd be able to fund the accounts, with that money, with whatever investors' money we have, with our money. We'd be able to put up the money for the accounts based on having 10 times more leverage than them. In some cases, 20, 30 times more leverage than them. We'd be able to A-book everyone, right? That was the original idea. And then there would still be an additional spread that we would make even beyond the money that we would need to capitalize the margin account. And what we realized very quickly was that A-booking everyone was an unprofitable strategy. It just, people don't, people just aren't. My original thesis was like, holy shit, if I as a trader, right, you're looking for an edge. So I was looking for an edge in the market. And I'm like, well, shit, if I give people this challenge and we get the best people, I have an edge with those people. You know what I'm saying? That was like my thing. I was like, I'm gonna mobilize the whole fucking crowd. But then we realized even beyond that even the best people or the people that are able to pass the challenge are not the best people. You know what I mean? They'll fail quickly for various reasons. One of the reasons even being when you take people from B book to A book, because the market changes and there's more realistic conditions, their strategy might not translate. Right. So those prop firms that are like not simulating slippage and not doing anything, they're 100% not A-booking people because the data doesn't even reflect like what could be reality. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we realized quickly that A-booking everyone was not a profitable strategy. We shifted more towards like a B-book, approach to everything. Now, it's like a hybrid combination, but like we're really trying to get more sophisticated by having certain team members to do the analysis and whatnot, to run some more sophisticated models. I mean, it's like $1 billion fucking problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not easy, but it's a gold mine, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
And like, I think about how many traders across the world have access to markets now, right? I've talked to people from like Cameroon, Nigeria. I think like 5 years ago, I wasn't doing that, right? Like those people in those parts of the world probably didn't have access to markets like they do now. So I feel like the industry is kind of just getting started.
Yeah, because even think of what is Elon's thing called? Starlink?
Yeah,
his Wi-Fi.
Right. I saw a tweet. Some guy said that he wanted to climb Mount Everest and take a Tesla trade with his Starlink.
I think there's this dude I follow on Instagram, and he's like I guess athlete. I don't know. He does like a bunch of crazy stunts and shit. He went out to, I don't know where it was. It might have been Antarctica. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. But he went out somewhere completely remote and used Starlink and like made the first call from that area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which was like crazy.
Yeah. So
dude, Starlink's about to be available, cheap for everyone.
I think it's like $30 a month or something. Is it that cheap?
Yeah, it's going to be will become even cheaper as it expands. And to your point, these regions like in Africa and India, like how many freaking people are over there?
Yeah.
Right? And dude, they're just like me and you. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they have access to all this information online. They have the ability to discipline themselves, teach themselves. You know what I'm saying?
And people ask me all the time, they're like, how much money you're managing or whatever. I'm like, it doesn't, don't compare what I'm doing to what you have to do, right? Because where you are, the cost of living completely different. Like your whole financial situation can be completely different to mine,
For sure. I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, these people in these areas where their local currency is so inflated, so it's like valueless, right?
Yeah.
And then they're trading with like an American company getting paid in dollars.
Yeah. Unless the dollar goes to zero.
That's a whole other thing.
Don't be bartering like chicken.
What's your take? Let's talk about current events a little bit. What's your take on the dollar right now?
Honestly, like it's so uncertain, which kind of makes market conditions really difficult, right? Like on one hand, there's still a lot of global economies that rely on the dollar and dollar denominated trade, but they could move away from it.
But it's interesting. Like as inflation has risen historically, the dollar would go down in value. But at this current moment, like inflation has risen, the dollar has risen, and gold has decreased or remained neutral.
Yeah.
Right. So like what's going on? This is like mass manipulation.
Yeah. That's why it's extremely uncertain, and that's why like right now I'm just short term. Short term trading.
Yeah. Are you in real estate at all?
No, I'm trying to get into it.
Okay.
I think my background in like doing construction stuff, it's gonna definitely help.
Commercial or like
no, just residential. Like right now we have a good amount of equity in our home. We're trying to like pull it out and reinvest it.
Okay.
But at some point, I've got some connections. I've got some tradespeople I can reach out to do some of the work. Probably do some of the work myself. Right.
It's just interesting, like, with the current economic conditions, with the world that we live in today. I mean, so many people are victimizing themselves. So many people in the Discord are victimizing themselves, right? About failing and this and that, blaming everyone else. What is your current take on the potential of the human being as in the current state right now?
So I think about this a lot. Like if you're having a hard time trading, right? Why don't you try and improve yourself at your job? Or if you have a really low income right now, or you know, if you're struggling, if you're hitting a ceiling, right? Go out there, take some risks. I think it's easier to boost your income at like a normal job than it is to try and become a full-time trader. Because if you have money problems, like trading the markets is not going to help it's not going to solve your money problems in general. So if you can prove to yourself, like, I want to be here on the corporate level, like set some goals and do that, right? And start small and trade small until you actually see progress, right? So I think when you every time you level up, because like some of the people I know that have really climbed the ladder like really quickly, like one of my really good friends, he just saw an opportunity. Every time somebody got like laid off, he would literally go into the boss's office and be like, I want this guy's job, you know? And like we were talking about, like if you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it. So he was just extremely aggressive in spotting opportunity and just hopping right on it. I think a lot of people become, you know, either too comfortable or they're like afraid of failure to like try and take the next leap in whatever it is that they're doing. And I don't know, maybe part of it is like the instant gratification thing too. Like when you look on an Instagram feed, it's like, you know, you could just literally look at somebody else's car. You don't have to go buy that car yourself, right? You almost get the same dopamine hit as if you were to own the car.
It's a lot of people talk about that, right? How the instant gratification of just, or not even instant gratification, just like the jealousy or just seeing things on Instagram and how that puts people in a bad mental space and all this and that. And I feel like that's like overplayed to an extent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, some people definitely probably feel jealousy towards it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like it's there for you, right? It really just comes down to your decisions.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta choose to rise up to the occasion and make shit happen.
It's like self-accountability. Like when I was delivering pizza, like nobody put me in that position other than me. Like I had good grades in school. I could have went to a decent college. I could have graduated. I ended up back delivering pizza in my hometown, you know, like some of my high school classmates were walking in and like, oh, what's up? What's up? And then you're just like, you know, like I definitely had more in me, right?
Yeah.
You just have to make that decision like, no, fuck this. I'm going to do something else. Like I'm going to go
at that time when you were in that position, right? You're delivering pizzas. For me, I was doing driving Uber. When was the moment where you were like, fuck this, like I need to rise up and get out of this position?
It was like a culmination of moments, you know. It was like my father being sick, you know, both my parents being sick, and like people act like they have all the time in the world, right? When they really don't. Like you could be here today, gone tomorrow, and it's like, all right, are you gonna be regretful on, you know, when that time comes for you to leave? Like, are you gonna regret the decisions that you made? If you are, then you maybe should probably try and like chase something meaningful for sure.
Yeah. And listen, the biggest thing I've learned is your imperfections and your problems, if you choose to look at them in a positive light and you know, try to resolve them, they can be your biggest blessing.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not even trying to sound corny or anything. Like, for me...
No, you turn your L's into lessons, right?
Dude, legit. Like, for me, I got diagnosed with spinal stenosis, like, a couple years ago, or 5-6 years ago, when I was, like, 21, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just like, damn, this ain't supposed to be happening to a 21-year-old, you know what I'm saying? And I was, like, super down about it. But then I had the mentality of, like, I need to figure out how to treat this thing. And now I have like a good routine. Like I know what to do to take care of myself, so it never bothers me. And it's almost like this problem now has turned into such a positive in my life because it makes me have these habits that are extremely good for me.
You got to like reverse engineer it, right? Because me working, you know, really long hours in construction and stuff, like my health took a hit. Yeah. So right now, I'm like trying to reverse engineer and like work my way back. Like, you know, all the negative bad habits and stuff and all the negative bad decisions that you're making, they compound over time, right? And they put you in a bad position. Like I talk about life equity drawdown a lot, right? Like you're going to have points in your life where you're in drawdown, you got to crawl your way out. Well, some people, they're not going to, you know, crawl their way out until they hit rock bottom though.
Yeah, it's always rock bottom. So what do you feel like your legacy is right now? You know, you're a big prop trader. What's the legacy?
Honestly, I think just impacting a lot of other people. Like ever since I did the Trading Nut interview, I didn't expect it to get like, you know, 100,000. Oh,
you got a big one.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And the ICT one almost hit 100,000 views too.
Damn.
So like, hopefully this one hits 100,000 views.
I fucking love that. I keep telling our team, I think the most we've gotten on one is Paladins.
Okay.
He got 70K on his. Yeah. And I just keep telling our like content team, I'm like, 100K is coming soon, because you never know.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. With YouTube, it's crazy.
I talk with Paladin a good amount, so
Paladin's a good guy.
We got some healthy competition. If you're looking, Paladin.
No, Paladin's a good lad for sure. Young.
He's super young, and that's why I was saying like right now, like you guys are offering opportunity for a lot of young traders to get access to, even if it's because I look at trading capital as like the drawdown amount, right?
Yep.
So like,
let me hear what you think about that, because I wanna give you some feedback on it.
So like right now I'm managing a little over $2 million, but when I look at it, it's like 200K, right? So it's not.
So you base it off of the drawdown. Is the amount that you have.
Yep.
So what's interesting
is the leverage though.
Yeah.
It's the leverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, I'm only trading my personal account," you got to look at the leverage. Like, all right, you're taking that $1,000 and now you have a drawdown limit of 20. Like, tell me a faster way you can do that.
Yeah.
With $1,000.
Yeah. Well, look at it
unless
like
you're doing like a pyramid
this
scheme.
used to be a big conversation. It used to be like, oh, how much money is at a $200,000 account? Like how much actually it is. And for us, like if we want to A-book an account, basically we have to look at the notional volume that traders utilize, right? The margin that's used. So if they trade indices, it could be different than FX, than commodities and crypto. So based on, the lot sizes they use, how much margin they use per trade, if they're like 100%, they always use 100% margin. If they have trading a 200K account,
like you got to have 200K in the account?
We might, no, because it depends. We give them say we give them a 1 to 100 leverage on FX, 1 to 20 on indices, whatever on commodities, 1 to 20, 1 to 40 on commodities. We might have on the back end 1 to 200 on indices, or 1 to 500 on indices. And we might have 1 to 500 on FX. So we might have 5 times, 10 times.
Yeah.
So like if it's indices and we have 10 times the leverage as them, we might only have to put up 20K for 200K.
That makes sense.
But if they're trading FX and they're max leveraging every position, we might have to put up 40K. To then back them. It's not 200K.
There's probably a lot of people max leveraging though, right?
I mean, not a lot of people that are successful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You get some though. Like for example, shout out, James, we're gonna meet up with him later. James Storms, some people might know. And he's notorious for over leveraging. Like he max leverages the account to the point where the broker told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, this is so risky. You use the max allocation for every single trade.
Margin notifications all the time.
Yeah. And that's how he flipped the 60, I think it was like 60K to 1 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Fucking nuts, man. Literally insane.
Yeah, I'm not at that level yet. I'm hoping to be, But again, like I'm not trying to compare myself to people. Like, I'm definitely happy with what I've done so far, and like I'm just trying to impact some people, because there's a lot of people that don't, they don't view trading in the way that they probably should. Like as far as business.
What do you think? What do you think the world would look like if everybody just focused on themselves?
Man, it'd be way different than it is now. It would be way different.
Be a hell of a world.
Yeah, I think there would be. Your happiness rate would go through the roof, I think.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. I think about, because even now, with the position I'm in, people are like, trying to compare us to this and this and that. And they're like, why doesn't Funded Trader do this and that? And I'm just like,
you're like in your own lane, right?
We need to focus on ourselves. Like we just are worried about ourselves, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And just getting better. And in the long run, if we just improve slightly over time, it will be an exponential gain. So what is one tip, going back to like traders, like what's one tip or one habit for traders that they could do over time that you think will exponentially improve them, but it's just like a small thing to do? Honestly,
it's just the daily habit. Even if it's I read a really good book. I think it was called Make Your Bed. It was by I think it was an admiral in the Navy, I believe.
It's a popular book.
Yeah, just focus on a couple of different routines, and get good at that, because trading is really the same. It's the same way. Like even if you're just getting into trading and studying, like have a set routine to study it. When I first started studying, I was like all over the place. Like if you don't know anything about risk management, just focus your energy on risk management. You can get so sidetracked with everything going. There's so many distractions out there. So a good technique is the Pomodoro technique. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of it.
All right, so you just set a timer, and you can do it on your phone, right? Like it locks all of the, you can set which apps it locks entirely so you don't have access to it. And just try and focus on work for like half an hour, 2 hours at a time. Like, separate your work blocks basically.
Yeah.
And just focus on that because so many people they probably sit down and try and watch a trading video like for 15 minutes. They get sidetracked with something else. Now they're watching a YouTube video on like maybe they're watching like the previews for Garcia Davis tonight. Like maybe they're doing that and
you gotta lock in.
Yeah, you have to lock in and just stay extremely hyper focused.
Yeah,
and just improve at like one area at a time because you can't improve at everything at once. I think I watched a really good interview, it was with Derrick Rose. He was talking about Kobe Bryant though, and he said when Kobe came in the league, he was just raw talent, right? So he was missing a lot in his skill set. So every single season, he would only focus on one thing. So like during the off season, he would focus on his footwork, right? That was one season. The next season, he would focus on like his mid range jumper, and he was only focusing on that one thing for the whole season. So by the time 5 years down the road, like he had like a skill set he could rely on that was like you're a specialist now. And I noticed that in like construction too. All the trades guys that were doing like a little bit of everything, right? The guys that were doing like drywall, they were doing tiling, they would do they literally tried to do everything. They weren't making as much money because their quality of work wasn't up.
Master of none.
Yeah, master of none, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was it called? Pear or something?
Pomodoro. Yeah.
So it's interesting because Matt, who's our COO, he talks about deep work time blocks. It's like the same concept, and coached me on that. And so it's something that I utilize. Like every day during the week, I try to do 3 2-hour sessions. So it's just focus, try not to look at my phone, right? Like I'm working for 2 hours. I'm trying to get through my to-do list. I'm trying to get through all the chats, whatever. And then 2 hours is up, take a break. Whatever.
Yeah.
Eat, walk around, whatever. Maybe I scroll mindlessly on my phone for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. And then 2 hours again, and then do that over and over again. And that is just so effective as opposed to just like, I'm going to sit here and work 8 hours.
Yeah, just winging it, right?
Yeah.
What did you notice you struggled with that, like first in trying to implement that though? Because I noticed with meditation, right, they call it the monkey mind.
Yeah.
Where you're just trying to focus on your breathing for a set specific time. But if your mind starts wandering everywhere, like you're not practicing it enough.
Yeah. To answer your question, yes, it was very difficult to assimilate to myself and my habits and all that. It was an extremely difficult thing because I'm so used to doing everything another way, being more erratic and everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was very hard to get focused and incorporate that. There was a lot of resistance, but over time it definitely became a lot easier. But yeah, for anyone, I want to just like talk about meditation for a second. For anyone that is like not doing that, like you're not into that headspace and you're not self-aware and all this stuff, that can be one of the most important parts of your entire life. Like it really, for me, is. And you can control your mind.
Yeah.
Like you can through breathing, through this and that. Like you can create a connection to yourself, a self-awareness as a human being that is like beyond what you could even believe.
Even if you're not even into meditation, like just go outside in nature and just go on a hike for a little bit, Or go for a long run. Like me training for this half marathon, like I just have time to myself and my own thoughts,
Yeah. Well, I have a very active mind, as most people know. I'm all over the place, all over the chats and stuff. So for me, it was harder to at first do like straight up meditation, like sitting there.
No, me too.
So it was about the movement for me. So yoga got me into it because it was I was moving, I was exercising. It helped me, like I like the hot yoga and stuff. So that helped me get introduced, and then it also helped to calm them, yourself.
But yoga's like still kind of quiet though, right? Like they're still like focused.
Depending, there's different studio, like American yoga, and then there's I
haven't tried.
Yeah, you should, man.
Try it.
It was funny because in college, when I was young, I was super I had a lot of anxiety, and I remember the first time I ever had relief from anxiety was doing a yoga class.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it was fucking insane.
So are you trying to be like a budding yogi, like a master at some point?
I am a yogi.
Oh, are you?
100%. Yeah, I am already.
Nice.
I've been doing it for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm not like an instructor or anything, you know what I'm saying? But I go, I'm part of a studio, I do it once a week, it's a very important part of my life. There was, I think, a whole year I took off, and I noticed there was a difference in my presence when I took it off. But yeah, big advocate for that. If it's not for you, you can try something else. Some people go fishing. Like some people do other stuff where they're just like alone with their thoughts and they just chill.
There's a page on Twitter I follow. It's Trading Composure. And I think when he first started getting into trading and stuff, he was like completely unaware of his like emotions and stuff. And then he went on like a meditative retreat at some, I think it was a Buddhist temple, right? But they had him meditating for like 16 hours a day, like something crazy. I mean, I would love to do something like that where it's like a retreat and just no phones, nothing. I mean, I go camping a lot, and that's really like
it's like an activity
stuff.
like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to center yourself, and
you need to center yourself. I don't literally work unless I'm centered.
Yeah.
With myself, like I'll just if something in the morning, you know, I can't get to do exercise or whatever, get myself centered, I'll just cancel meetings, and I have a few things that I'll do, whether it's like running or reading or whatever, and that'll help center myself. And then I'll get into work. Like I feel like so many people are just not have the peace of mind, presence of mind, and they try to do stuff, and then they're all over the place, and that's how you make mistakes.
Like trading is the same way. It's so easy to just pick up your phone and start trading. Like first thing in the morning. Like don't do that. You know? My friend Rodrigo just mentioned it the other day. He's like, "What are you doing? Like don't you at least wake up and center yourself and like stretch a little bit, have some breakfast, and like get your mind in a place where you're going to be ready to take on risk."
Yeah, that's So right now, when you're putting on trades, right, talking about risk, when you're putting on trades, are you working towards managing more capital right now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how are you working on that?
So,
and where are you at with it?
I'm actually working with somebody that's across the pond. Mm-hmm. They have access to some high net worth clients, right? So right now, I'm just trying to trade and build the track record. Like some people have reached out as far as managing more capital on like a more traditional like fund basis. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's kind of where it's trending, but I don't know where it's going to go, right? But obviously, I'm trying to put the track record together. And it's got to be like 6 to 12 months. It's got to be legit, right? No crazy periods of drawdown. Yeah. Right. I think last year was my first full year full-time trading, and there were some periods of drawdown that I just wasn't comfortable with, you know?
Right.
Like blowing some accounts and then having to get funded with them again. So, like, just having a nice, steady equity curve. As far as like managing,
it's not easy.
It's not easy, right?
No, and then that shit's hard as fuck.
Yeah. And with business too, right? You want to have a nice steady. You don't want to be volatile because a lot of times when I find my equity volatility picking up, like that's when my life is like out of order.
Yo, yeah. I did. I've talked about this before. I used to smoke a lot of weed a couple of years ago, and I started to do these tests where I would smoke weed for like 3 to 6 months, and then I would look at my busin's income, and then I would quit for 3 to 6
You're
months.
Like a data scientist over here.
And, dude, I do experimentation all the time. And then I would do 3 to 6 months off of weed, and I would look at my business income, and it was like no weed.
Yeah, wow.
And I was like, holy shit, like this really impacts my life. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was my A and B testing, and so I quit weed like 2 years ago. I quit smoking weed. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it creates brain fog, you know, like memory loss.
Yeah.
I mean,
for some people they have a crazy anxiety, like they utilize it, but I don't know.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
for traders, I think it's not. You know, if you are gonna smoke, probably smoke off market hours. Like wait till the weekend. Yeah. Don't like don't rip a bowl and then sit at your screen.
No, there's people watching right now ripping bongs, like ripping bowls. I'm a big advocate now because I came from that mental space where I was just ripping weed, like joints all day and all that stuff, and now I'm just like sober. And so I'm a big advocate for just sober, like being sober. Like I think my competitive advantage is actually being sober. Like to be honest, like I look at all the people that I am in competition with, and sure, there's some other people out there, but it's like if you have peace of mind, you're not participating in these mind-altering habits, and you put me in a race versus someone else who's like drinking and this and that and smoking, it's like I'm gonna just dominate this person over time. You know what I mean? Because I'm just steady making pace, and I'm at peace. I'm not anxious. All this, and you're just like all over the fucking place.
Not only that, you're probably thinking about a ton of shit all at once. You know?
Yeah. So that's like a whole. I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just like I don't know. It's a culmination of bad habits and impulsiveness, maybe. Like some people are like addicted to just shopping. You know,
people are addicted to everything.
They're addicted to anything, and they don't really know what the root cause of it is.
Right.
Like I think a big thing is like the most successful traders I know, they like understand what the root cause of certain problems are.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what I would tell somebody. If right now you don't understand how to make money and you don't understand what the root cause is, you should spend all of your time on figuring that out.
Yeah.
That's even more important than your chart time.
Yeah.
You should just be figuring out what the hell is causing me to act erratically. And once you can figure that out and you can distance yourself, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a habit.
For me, I got to look inwardly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the one clicking the button. Even if I'm following signals, like, at the end of the day, I'm the one following that signal, right? So.
Yeah. What's your take on signals? People that
I got
signals?
nothing. I got no problems with it, right? But I think you're going to learn more. So my biggest growth period was me just isolating myself. Literally, it was just me in a room by myself, not talking to anybody. I was like off socials. And I don't really have
Jade Cap.
Yeah. And I don't really have like a whole lot of trader friends. But the ones I did have at the time, right before my network started growing, they told me just isolate yourself from everything and just go and study. You know, so I got a lot of good advice from some friends.
What are the goals as we wrap it up? What are the goals for you moving forward? You got Jade Cap, it's growing, right? Like, what are some goals
I think probably starting another business, you know, like an education platform, helping other traders, and growing the capital, you know, because at the end of the day, what I noticed working with like a lot of high net worth individuals, there were some people that were extremely unhappy still, but there were some people that were extremely humble still. So if you're just chasing the money, like, you're not going to find happiness.
No.
So my goal, you know, if I can make a good amount of money while at the same time helping somebody else, like, that's kind of my goal.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I would say this to anyone. Your goal should, like you said, not be trying to chase more money. It's who can you help, right? And what can you change, you know, in your life with that money. That's what actually matters. The accumulation of money for pleasure does not equal happiness.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the equation is, if you can solve problems, right? That if you can solve more problems, the amount of money that you're going to pull in is a lot greater. The more problems you solve, the more money you're going to make.
Oh yeah, we're over at TFT. Me and Carlos are the problem solvers. Yeah, that's all we focus on, man. We're the solutions guys. If you have solutions, you're going to get paid.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you being on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It was a pleasure, you know, speaking with you, and you're one of the top TFT traders.
Appreciate it.
Dude, it's wild. So
I need that lifetime payout cert, though. I know Paladin's got one.
I'll get you. We're working on the certs page right now, so I'll get you one for sure. But listen, best of luck to you, you know, moving forward, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Let's go.